to GPT podcast. I am your host, Syed Hater. You know everyone on the couch. They're in the last podcast. Like, this is Ryan, owner of the podcast. That's Brian, best friend on the podcast,
hey,
and in
nice.
life, sure,
That's
yeah.
Like that.
And this is Dr. Robert Ambrose, also known as Bobby, right?
See?
On the last podcast, you mentioned that you were a PharmD. That just go ahead and let's give your credentials so they know that you're very knowledgeable about what we're going to talk about.
I am a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I have a doctor of pharmacy.
Yeah.
So I do get mail that shows up at my house and it says Dr. Robert Ambrose. So that's pretty cool.
That's nice.
You work at St. Vincent's, right?
I work at St. Vincent's Medical Center. I am a clinical,
We need to be that close to the mic.
multi-specialty pharmacist. I cover ICU, the ED, as we call it, emergency department.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
I work ICU. I work in the ED, cardiac unit. I work at our psych facility as well as our general medicine floor. Go on rounds with physicians, look up patient, look at what drugs they're taking, medications, what medications they're taking, make sure things are dosed appropriately, look at kidney function, and improve patient care. That's what I do when I'm not here. I am super mature and appropriate for about 8.5 hours a day. And I come here and it all goes to hell.
You also enjoy long walks on the beach. Oh my god.
How long were you in school? Where did you go to school?
Yeah.
So I was in, as far as like all my education put together,
let's just go here.
was 8 years.
Okay.
So it took me a year longer because I ended up changing majors. So the pharmacy programs in general are 6 years, depending on where you go. Now they have accelerated programs, but those are even longer, and that's for people that have already had degrees. So I went to UConn. I did my undergrad there for 4 years. I did graduate school there for 2 more years, plus my first year was at UVM, where I was a biology major, and then I switched to pharmacy coming to UConn. So 1 year at UVM, and then 6 years at UConn, so 7 years, and then I ended up doing a post-grad residency, which allows me to not go out and work at like CVS or Rite Aid. It lets me stay in the hospital and go up and work with physicians and work with nurses and be more clinical, essentially. So yeah, 8 years.
Do you think it was harder for you to train and while you were in school, or now that you're working? Was it more time?
I have more time now. When I was in school, like just straight classes, it was very easy to train because it was super easy to train 4 or 5 days a week because you don't have class for extended periods of time. You have
15 hours a week.
Yeah, man. You can train both. You don't work weekends. You can train Saturday, Sunday if you need to. It's super easy to train. When you got into your last year, which is clinical rotations, where you were working your 8-hour day for free. Actually, not for free. You were paying tuition. And then you were taking more schooling work home with you on top of those 8 hours. It made training really hard. Residency was even more time consuming. But now it's nice because now you leave work and you leave work. I come here and I can stay here as long as I want because I don't have a life outside of here.
Those are the magic tricks.
But now you adopted 2 kittens. So.
Now I adopted 2 kittens, so it's been stressful. I'm like a father, basically.
That's nice.
But I could come here, I can come here easily 4, 5, 6 days a week. I just choose not to.
Sounds like we're not good enough.
That's very telling.
Like you said in the last podcast, your training's not your life now, so it's a little bit
I'm doing
different.
exactly. I have a lot of other things.
We joke that you have no life, but
I want to enjoy.
You have the ability to have a life if you wanted to.
Right.
The option's there.
I do other. Yeah, I like to do other things now. Now I can plan vacations. I have a little bit of financial security where I can go do stuff. Whereas when you're in college, you can't do crap. So all you can do is train because the gym is free at college.
Well, I saw something the other day from Greg Robbins. I was telling one of our other members about was like, if you train 16 times a month, if you miss one workout, that's 6% of your your training that you missed. And like in the real world, if you miss 6% of your job, they're probably going to fire you for it
easily.
And his comment was start thinking like the owner and not like the employee, and start showing up for your training sessions. And I think that's like, just kind of starting of what it's like when you're in school to in your residency into your job. And I think a lot of our members are in school or just getting out of school, and they're realizing how much things change. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks like once they finish school that they're going to have all the time in the world, and weirdly that doesn't happen. And to make sure that you're still getting your training in, even if like you're training now, like you said, you're training 3 days a week.
3 days.
Where it used to be pretty consistently 5. And some weeks you get in 4.
I think because of the injury right now, I'm not going 4.
Right. But you were getting 4 and before that.
4, yeah.
But 3 to 4 every week. Where like so when you were in school and powerlifting, you were probably doing 5 a week because it was easy. Mm-hmm. But you're still getting that 3 or 4 in every week. You're not missing sessions.
No.
So you have to. And then we've talked about time management before when we had Dan on the show. Same thing, like Dan's going to pharmacy school now. Yeah. Of managing your time to be able to train. Like this is still a hobby for everyone. It's no one here is making money on this, but it's a hobby that everyone enjoys, and there's a lot of camaraderie with it. So it does become part of your life. It's part of your social life. But working around everything that you're doing and going to pharmacy school and doing your internships and everything like that, like I think people seeing that you could still train all that during that time frame is a good thing, because so many people have this excuse of why they can't train all the time, and
it only gets worse when you get a family.
It doesn't get better.
You get a wife or you have kids, then you're really strapped for time.
But if it's a priority, then you make it work.
Of course.
If it's not a priority, if it's still your hobby, you don't really care about it, then if you get to the gym once or twice a week, that's one thing. But if for you that you want to compete more with and you want to prioritize it, and you get it.
Give yourself, like I said, a minimum of what you're doing, and then if you could find another day, so when I was in residency, I was like 3 days. 3 days I'm going. Now, I like to train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but if I had to train Monday, Tuesday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever it was, I'm going 3 days, and if I can get a 4th day, you can get a 4th day.
That's also part of like the whole atmosphere of working in sort of healthcare generally is your schedule is pretty chaotic in the sense that sometimes you're working overnight shifts or you're working 30-hour shifts, like extended periods of time where you might not be able to work or lift, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You might have to work like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
And then you have to get Monday work at the gym, and then Friday, Saturday. Or it's sort of like.
I used to be like I have to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like if I had to train like Monday, Thursday, Friday or something instead of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my whole training cycle was completely ruined. Like I wasn't gonna hit PRs because I went off track.
But as someone who's going to go into the healthcare profession, I'm going to school in the fall, master's, going to get my master's, hopefully my doctorate after that.
You better. It's like 12 years in the making.
Seriously.
What advice do you have for me on both sides as someone in the position of being, a student as well as an athlete, and for someone as a coach? Me trying to transition from working out consistently 4 days a week, for extended periods of time, like 5 hours, to not having the time to do that.
And I'll jump in because mine's a little bit easier, I think. But we talked about the other day. Like I've already been thinking about what I'm going to program for you when you're away, and my thought was maybe we do 5 or 6 sessions a week, and when I say a week, it might not be a true week, but like a training week, which for a lot of people ends up being, instead of doing they'll do a 4-day cycle, but they'll do it over 10 days. So I was thinking for you like a 5 or 6 day training cycle, maybe over 10 days, but each training cycle, each session, I plan on being quick.
Right.
We're going to focus on one lift real quick, hit this hard, maybe it's squat for today, and then one moderately hard exercise, 2 kind of smaller exercises, out. My feeling is you should be able to finish most of these workouts in 45 minutes. That way, especially early on when you're going to be studying more, it gives you a stress relief. It gives you a break from what you're doing. But it doesn't add stress to what you're supposed to be doing because you're not there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
With 45 minutes, get that quick break, go back to what you need to do instead of 3 to 5 hours like
Plus,
we are now.
none of us are going to be there, so you're going to be like, I have no one to talk to, so I might as well just
You're gonna be
quit.
really efficient when you leave. Like, just everything changes.
Everything's just gonna. But how would that impact sort of my goals in regards to powerlifting? Should it change much, and like how quickly I'll be making progress, or?
Well, Boris Schickel made a post like 2 or 3 days ago talking about that a lot of people don't have a lot of time because of different commitments and everything like that, and maybe they only have time for 1 hour a day, and he programs them for 1 hour. He says, but don't expect the same results as if you were there for 2 to 2.5 hours.
Okay.
You can't. If you have 4 days a week, 2.5 hours, the amount of work we can get in is so much more than if you have 45 minutes a day, 6 days a week. Like, even if you're more efficient, it doesn't matter. We just can't get the same amount of work in. And if you train hard on the program, you're still going to get results, but you're not going to get the best.
The idea.
Yeah, is it ideal? No, but like,
Sometimes you got to go on a hiatus for a couple of years because you're not going to be
like
ideal.
What is like? Like for almost anyone here who's on an ideal training cycle, an ideal program all the time, like, you know, I mention all the time that I'll write like a 4-day program for someone that'll take 8 or 9 days to finish. It was meant to be 7 days. Life happens, and like, I think a lot of coaches don't instill that in their athletes, and then we've got athletes that are like, I missed 1 day, what should I do? Relax, it's fine. Do it today. Send me the program tomorrow. We'll go from there. We'll be 1 day off. Not the end of the world. And like what you said, like, you know, if you missed 1 day, you went Monday, Thursday, Friday instead of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're like, shit, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wrong mindset. Like, and none of us are getting paid for this. It's not our job. Life happens. Work around it.
Yeah.
Prioritize it so you get it done, but work around it. If you miss 1 day and you have to push it back, normally you're supposed to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and you go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, that's fine. It's not going to negatively affect your program. One of the guys there today asked me the same thing. He's like, hey, I'm a little behind. He's a firefighter. His schedule is insane. He said, by the end of next week, I should be caught up. Cool, you're fine. It's not...
You can still see progress.
Right, you're still going to see. Is it ideal? Is it going to give you the exact result we wanted on this exact day? Maybe not, but
are you going to the Olympics?
Yeah, you're still getting better.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, we're going to Tokyo.
Tokyo 2020. We're in trouble. We're behind schedule. We're gonna need 2 more years.
We're about 23 years behind schedule.
Yeah. But it can still be done. You have to be more realistic with your goals. You can't go in saying, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this, but I'm going to put half the time into it. And I think the coach should know that, and the coach should instill that into you first, and then as long as you can understand that, then it's fine.
On the student side, like, how would you prioritize sort of your time to be able to maintain that strength, as well as like being able to, because especially with like a PharmD or any healthcare where it's heavily science-based, you have to put a lot of time and commitment to know a lot of that stuff.
So like you said, it comes down to time management, and and that's something you could take in all aspects of your life as well. Time management is going to help you when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, like time management. And so specifically what I would do is I would sit down, and I always had a plan. Doesn't mean you have to stick to the plan, but I would go down and I'd write, okay, Monday through Sunday, I'm going to study infectious disease here, hit the gym, come back, and then study cardio. I'm going to, not like cardio, guys, cardiology. We don't do cardio here.
Study the idea.
We don't do cardio.
We don't do cardio.
We don't do cardio. But I had a set kind of, and hardly did I ever stick to the plan, but having like that written out and being able to see it just helped in anything, right? Even if like people that write down their goals are some percentage more likely to reach their goals than people who don't write their goals, that are just cruising along. So for me, having like a set of what was going on really helped me get to the gym and get out and be studying. You just gotta be efficient. You can't come here and socialize like we do for 3-4 hours, right?
Yeah.
And things aren't going to be ideal. Your diet's not going to be perfect. Your sleep's not going to be perfect. And that's all right. It's okay. But specifically, that's what I say. Someone like write out a plan, like almost like you write out a program. You have a plan. Do you have to stick to the plan? No. But you
have to stick to the program.
Stick to the program. But it really helped me out because I was like, all right, studying this, gym, studying that. Tuesday, I'm just going to study all day. Wednesday's going to be a gym session. I'm going to go after class, and then I'm going to study whatever class till 8. And I had a plan thought out, and that really helped me just having those goals written out.
Now, would you suggest that I try to merge them? And like, I've seen people who take their iPad or their like textbook materials to the gym.
So much.
Yeah.
I hate that so. I mean, I know people that works for some people, but my thought is when you're studying, put your time and effort into studying. Put your time and effort into class. When you're at the gym, put your time and effort into that. If you're doing both, like now you're shortchanging both. You're already not doing something ideal, and now we're making it even worse by splitting everything up. Get to the gym for your time. Like I said, use it as a stress relief. Go all out for that time frame, and then get back and do with the other thing.
Like that.
You can't ride 2 horses with one ass. Like
so you say.
Pick one thing, and with reckless abandon, work on that until you're done, and then do the other thing with reckless abandon. Don't try to do both, because it always ends up being half-ass.
It's true.
That ties into the pun.
The pun.
Yeah. I visually was trying to think of one ass and 2 horses. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, he's got it right. The ass is riding the horse too. Something I would do is packing. Like I would pack lunch when I go to the school of pharmacy. When everybody else would go to dinner, I would just go to the gym and then come back and I would eat as I was studying.
Yeah.
So like the hour they would eat dinner, I would go hit the gym and come back, and then I would just eat, and continue studying. It's time. It really just comes down to time management. Have a plan in place. Have a plan in place. Get your schedule and figure out what that is, and have things set. I'm gonna try to go to the gym here, and here. Talk with Ryan.
Yeah.
Have when he gives you a workout, have what you must do, and then if you have time, you have to squat and bench this day, and if you have time, you can do some accessory work. Accessory work. Be on the, stay in touch and keep on in touch with Ryan. That would be my advice.
Yeah.
You're so
Oh, you gotta try. It's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be.
The key is
tough.
Don't make any friends. Don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, you already have friends.
Well, be time efficient.
They're called the barbell.
I'll use one of our other lifters as an example. Bucks' senior year of college, I think. Junior, I forget which one it was. So Bucks was going to school full time while working full time. And he was commuting to school, so that took up a lot of time too. So I said he was getting his degree in business while working full time as an electrician and commuting back and forth. So he had one semester where in our gym hours are a little bit different than commercial gym hours because anytime we're open we are staff, so I'm always here or one of the other trainers is here. So he literally had 1 day a week to work out. And when he was here, he would come in Friday nights, he'd get here 5 o'clock. And he would squat, bench, dead, do something for back. And then if he had the energy at the time, he'd do some arms and abs because he wanted to do some arms and abs. And that was a stress relief for him. But we did that for an entire semester. And he didn't get any stronger, but he didn't lose any strength on all 3 lifts. Which honestly was mind-boggling to me because I was like, okay, if I can just limit the loss in strength to 10%, it'll come back later. But we were very strict with the program, and he'd come in on a Friday night and maybe be a sub-maximal squat and then a volume kind of bench workout and a heavy deadlift workout, and everything was a little bit less than normal because he had to do all 3, but we hit all 3, made sure he got everything in, and at the end of the semester we retested and his numbers had not changed at all, which, like I said, to me that was an amazing success because it was 1 day a week. And then the next semester he was able to get back in 3 days a week and he improved again. It was by no means ideal, but he knew that the only time he had was Friday night. Saturday he was doing side jobs. Sunday he was doing side jobs. Monday through Thursday he was working. Friday he went to school and came here. Like, that was... It didn't, you know... We looked at the plan and be like, man, this sucks. But he worked at it as hard as he possibly could for like a 14-week block. And it worked out for him. Like, I'm sure those 14 weeks, every Friday sucked. Every Friday was... Like, he did a powerlifting meet every Friday.
With no training.
For 14 weeks. Yeah. And then be like, oh, by the way, go do 5 sets of 5 pull-ups with an extra 45 pounds. You know, not a single one of those workouts was easy. And it worked. You know, like I said, it wasn't ideal, but it worked for what we needed. We got it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But, time management.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
All right. I know this is a question we were going to originally start with. But we can quickly hit it right now.
We can hit it quick. Let's go.
We were talking about how you have these credentials of being a pharmacist and stuff like that. So you understand supplements to like a pretty good degree.
This was in the last podcast.
I understand.
Keep going. It's fine. Cool.
So, like, what supplements would you recommend people take, or the big 4 supplements people should be taking?
Or big 4.
That's what Bobby said.
Then we're gonna do water cutting.
We can do water cutting after that. Like,
I would take a creatine monohydrate. Probably the most evidence there is to support, especially for power athletes, like powerlifting, right? The name, keep it stupid simple. Beta alanine, I would say about 3. You want like 3.2 grams per serving. Citrulline malate, you want about 8 grams per serving. I don't think I said creatine. Creatine's 3 to 5. And then caffeine anywhere. It really depends on how tolerant you are. Those are probably the ones I would recommend. And that's probably it. And don't buy things that's proprietary blend, because they'll be like, oh, it's got all this stuff in it, but you're getting like half a gram of each one. That's what I would recommend.
And lastly, because, you know, Brian's a huge fan of water cutting.
Loves water cutting.
So why don't you explain to the people who watch this podcast,
everybody,
all 103 of them, what water cutting actually does? Like,
mechanistically, how it works. So I will be water cutting to the 67. So water cutting has to do with something called anti-diuretic hormone. I don't know why I have to lean into the mic every time I speak.
Anti-diuretic hormone?
Because you can see how loud you are, and every time you talk, it's very quiet, and every time I talk, I fill up the whole goddamn thing.
All right. Well, so
that's why when Trista watches this, she can only ever hear me.
Shout out,
Trista. One of the only members that watch this. So it has to do with anti-diuretic hormone, and I will try to break this down really simple. So when it comes to like your body adjusting, you have 2 different systems that can adapt. You have your central nervous system, or just your nervous system, and your endocrine system. All I want to get is your nervous system is quick, your endocrine system is slow. That'll be important, right? Nervous system, like you drink caffeine, or if I punch Brian in the face, his blood pressure is going to go up. It's immediate. It happens real quick. Endocrine is much slower. So just think endocrine is slower, and endocrine governs your hormones, right? So when you start drinking copious amounts of fluid, what your body's going to do is it's going to shut off the anti-diuretic, right? You can think of it as a double negative. If you shut off something that's anti, so diuretic mean diuresis, meaning like your body's going to be peeing out fluid. So if you shut that off, negative means you will be diuresing. So you drink all this fluid, you shut off this hormone, and it takes, like I said, endocrine slow. It takes a couple days for that to happen. That's why you water load for so many days, and then you just start peeing constantly, right? And then all of a sudden you shut water out very quickly, and now your endocrine system is going to need some time to reboot, getting back to that endocrine is slow. And then slowly your anti-diuretic hormone will start to come again to make you hold on water. But in the meantime, you shut off water, and you continually keep peeing out water, and then you time that up with weigh-ins, and that's how your body actually mechanistically gets rid of.
So how does that affect your central nervous system?
Your central nervous system?
Yeah. Does it? Can it adapt quickly?
Your central nervous system will be fine. Your central nervous system is going to be dependent on training and the weights you've been handling. That's pretty much it. Your central nervous system should be fine, assuming Ryan's programmed perfectly for you and has peaked your central nervous system.
Now the thing with the water cut too is like, because we have done these a bunch of times, but like I generally don't like a quick cut off. I know a lot of people do like one day, just boom, cut off all water completely. I usually will load for 3 days and then start to slowly bring it back before we cut it hard. Both work. I think it just depends on how shitty you want to feel. Going the extra 3 days by cutting slowly back, your hormone still hasn't turned back on yet. You're fine, and you don't feel as crappy as that one day of just no water. But generally, I think we've talked about this before. Like 2 to 3% body cut for weight is about it. More than that, you're going to have an effect on your lifting, because for both weightlifting and powerlifting, at least USAPL, it's a 2-hour weigh-in. You're not going to get that fluid back on quickly enough. You've been used to training at 154, and all of a sudden you cut to 149, whatever.
It's 148.
148 now.
47.8.
And
we're going 67.
And your body doesn't have time to adapt, and you can't struggle with that. Also, I'm just trying to be like, heed these warnings. You do hear about the people that water cut too much, and if you look at them, you think they're drunk, and it's because they're so dehydrated that they're out of it. And we've seen this happen at a couple meets, and it's happened recently at a couple big meets for some lifters that weren't able to perform to their ability or at all because they overdid it. So yes, it works, and we know what we're doing, but don't try to cut 5 or 6%. That's just cut weight first, like get in better shape, cut your weight a little bit if you're going to do that, and then you can water cut the rest of it.
We'll be water cutting to the 67.
Absolutely. And this is also, we're talking about like in using you as the pharmacist, like there are other ways to make it easier.
Yeah, a little bit of Lasix.
But in the 2 federations that we're a part of right now, that both drug tests, that would not go very well.
Well, we could look at half-lives and do the math out. Try to figure it out, but that's not a game you want to play. It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
It's not healthy.
Water cutting in general is not healthy.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy.
Oh my god, I'm glad this is my last podcast.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much for listening. To send in questions, DM me on Instagram at Syed_likes_stuff. Follow the gym on Instagram at Team GPT. For more information about the gym, visit GleasonPerformance.com and join the team. For online coaching, go to teamgpt.com.